I'm sorry. We're already live. Okay. Okay. So, I do that every time. All right. So let me go in here and double check everything. Whew, man, a lot of energy.
Amazing.
Just the
Lots
energy.
and lots.
Oh my God.
I
Believe me.
swear you were picking up on my anxious energy, and I could just like feel a wave of calm wash over me. I'm like, that's Todd. I know it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Don't worry. It's just a conversation.
Yeah.
All right, we got a few people in so far. Let me check the sound. Okay, that's me. Woo, okay. All right. Heather Houston, Michael Van Patten, Carmela Liff, Linda Hickton, John DePass, Yaya Sisterhood, Laurel Gale from Tasmania, Sarah Moss,
Amazing.
Frederica Anderson. Good to see you again, Frederica. Brenda Harding. Some new names: Shannon Carana, Richie Dukes, Eva Marie Dell, Jody Lee's always in the house. Jody Lee puts out some great stuff. I'm trying to coerce her to coming on. Monique Kindre from down in South Australia, John Montgomery, Michelle Nahas, Jenny Smith. Okay, so we got some new people.
Wow.
They must be your friends, which is great because that's what we're here to do: integrate soul tribes into the one soul tribe. Carla Mahone, Wendy Kirkwood, Cleo Ferraro. Very cool. Very cool.
Wow.
Okay, so we got. You can't find it? It's further down on the page. Yeah, it's not at the top of the page yet, or just refresh. Okay. What was I doing? Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, because there is some new faces, my name's Todd Medina. This is the Soulogy.one network as we expand it to our own independent site, which is happening as we're all expanding. No timelines, no linear, just happens in the moment, in the nonlinear moment. So our main show is called Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with, and this is about our, 750th episode. I am really excited because, I talked to our guest a couple of times, and during last year, and she's like, yeah, no, but not in a bad way, just everybody's going through their stuff. But she made a comment to me prior to the show that she knew when Morgan contacted her that she's laughed because this is the year she has to come out. And this is what Morgan's been forecasting. This is what I understand. Part of Soulogy's platform is for these divine feminine who have been doing the work for so many years to step up now. So this is an opportunity for me to thank you all, and also to say this is a platform that supports you, that's for you, for the voices of the Mother Goddess. So, feel free to reach out to Morgan or me, and if you'd like to come on and walk the plank like Melissa Ford's going to do today.
Very much feels like that.
Right. So in introducing Melissa, I can't really recall. I would say maybe 3-4 years ago, I noticed her out there, and she's been very consistent. She's got a very her message isn't just transmissions and downloads. It's a human message, which I love because I believe human is the hero. And so I'm really excited about today. It aligns with everything that's been happening. Thank you for coming and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence, Melissa. So a lot of people know you.
Thank you so
much. Yeah. You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this is huge for me because I feel like whatever's been coming up for me that is generating a lot of energy in the heart space. Initially, it feels like a tightness or a restriction. That really has been my guide or signal lately to crack through that and to emerge and to let it flow. So yeah, this is like a huge leap for me. And I'm hoping that through my example of, I'm literally in the thick of it right now, working through my own stuff for everybody to witness. That it helps other people that have been on this journey to really open up and be seen. Because that's been huge for me, is like terrified to come out of the spiritual closet.
You're right on the money on that. And I've said it many times in the shows as we've evolved. And that is, we get these downloads, channelings, and transmissions and communications, and all that stuff. But I've noticed on the shows, and I'm convinced that the most the biggest expansions we have, the biggest activations we have are from people being in the space that you're in right now. So I know a lot of people know you, you know, and I know you've done some videos, and of course you write, and I don't know, and so like I said before the show, we're going to kind of get to know each other as well on the show. But I guess I'm curious to, and I know I ask this of a lot of people, like I'm curious as to how it started for you. When did you wake up and realize everything wasn't the way we thought it was?
That's I would say that happened like 3 or 4 years ago, like you said. And what's so amazing to me to be here sharing this space with you right now is you really were one of the first people that, you know, spoke your truth that resonated with me on such a deep level. And at the time when I was newly awakening, I really didn't comprehend or grasp the vastness of it. Like, it was almost like I couldn't compute the words you were saying, but on an energetic level, I just knew that it was something that I had to pursue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so I would say it was 4 years ago, and it was triggered and activated through my grandmother's passing away. Wow. And I really feel that she passed the torch, she passed the light. And a lot of things seemed to like snowball all at once for me. My physical health deteriorated, my mental health deteriorated, and then it just felt like I was shattered as a human being on all levels. And I went through the darkness of the soul for a long time. It felt like a really long time. Where do you even start with a question like that?
No, it's great. Just keep going. You're rolling out. I mean, this is what it's all about.
Yeah. And then, you know, slowly but surely the pieces started to fall back into place. And it's almost like spirit, I would receive these downloads, these visions, just little glimpses of information that would keep me going, keep me seeking and, you know, reading, connecting with like-minded people to figure out what this journey was all about, really.
Yeah, right on. And so in your own experience, because because the universe speaks to all of us in our own unique way. So for you, when you went through like what I call the strip down to nothing, the bare nakedness of the soul, and then you start building back up. So what type of communication how were you receiving your communication? I mean, was it by feeling? Was there specific divine essences, galactics? Images, you know, how did you get your stuff, and how do you get it?
A little bit of everything, but initially it was definitely through writing. I don't think that I realized for a long time that I was actually channeling messages. It would I would be struck with such a profound, clear message, and no matter what I was doing, I'd have to stop and just get it out of me. And when I would read it back, it was like, who's talking? It didn't feel like it was coming from me. It was always so eloquent and just so profound. Like, it really would strike such a chord in me. Sometimes it would just bring me to tears. And I was like, I didn't compute that, for, like I said, for a really long time that I was channeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. And because I remember when I started, mine was writing. And I remember a couple of my family members that were watching everything I was doing and coming out of the same type of trauma and stripping down that you're describing. And they would say, you didn't come into this world with that stuff, or you didn't write that stuff. So I totally get what you're saying. Now, when you started, I mean, did you know, a lot of this stuff we were receiving seemed very external. And as time goes on, it seems like we start to embody it and it becomes us. Have you had a similar type of evolution?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that it almost felt like the information came first, and then the lessons, which further assisted me in practicing and implementing until it really integrated fully. And now a lot of it feels second nature. And, you know, you flow with it, and you're like, oh, I don't have to like go back and remind myself of certain things or go into my toolbox. It kind of like, when you're in the now moment, you can just like trust what arises because you are more aligned and with that information.
Would you say that the information you were receiving came in, and then you had to. Oh, she fell out. Oh, here she's back. She's back. Okay, hang on a second. All right, you're back. You're back. You just
Are
popped
we
out and came
okay?
back. Yeah, we're good.
1 second.
Just a little glitch. Can you hear me?
Maybe I can
Can you?
flip
Now I'm
it,
look.
come back.
I can see you. Can you see me?
Sorry, Todd. I don't know if you can see me, hear me. We lost
Hang on.
connection.
No. We got it.
Oh
Hang on a second.
no.
Hang on. Okay. Yes. Can you see that? And one thing. Hang on. 1 sec. 1 sec. All right. Hey, we'll get you back. Just hang on 1 second. All right. I'm going to go out and come back in. And real good. Real good. Real good.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah, you popped out, and then I had to pop out so you could see me. I could see you. All right.
Oh, perfect.
I was going to say, what was I going to say? I was asking. I can't remember now. So, just I feel like when we talk about these things, that's what I said earlier. Is even through behind the words, we get the information, the activations and stuff. So, like people just telling their story. But I remember what I was going to ask you before I get to that. So would you say like you would get the information, and then you would have to actually embody the information, and then you got to this third stage where it's just kind of like on cruise control, kind of.
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely the process. And it's interesting because it comes in waves. I feel like, I finally have gotten the hang of this. Something else is put on me where I'm like, oh, this is like a whole new level that I haven't experienced and have to integrate. So I feel like it's an ongoing cycle and process of learning how to decode these messages and downloads and all the rest of it on different levels. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So initially, at the beginning of my spiritual awakening, I also received a lot of messages in the dream plane. So I found that a reoccurring pattern, I was shown so many patterns that I was like, oh, there's something to this. And in my dreams, I was actually being taught certain things. So I was like, I'd go to sleep, but I wasn't actually sleeping. I was just like in spirit school, essentially. And I would also receive messages that way, or lessons to integrate, things to overcome. And I'd wake up like feeling so refreshed and new, and like I didn't have to work through that barrier, block, or whatever it was in the physical, because I had already done it on another level.
Oh, yeah. Powerful. Yeah. So I know like I had a similar thing with purging, and a few, 3 or 4 months ago when I was in Sedona, I started to go, because I asked for more ease and grace, and I started to go through this thing where I would purge in dream state. So I didn't have the physical stuff happening anymore. Now, you mentioned a toolbox, and I've also noticed over the years in watching you that you were one of the first ones who had, you're out there, and then you had no problem pulling back and doing your stuff, handling your shift. And you talked about it some as well. And a lot of people too, with people like you, think, oh my God, well, she doesn't have any issues. She just gets it and boom, she's done. But I love the fact that you always bring the human part of it out, and with no holds barred, just raw. So how do you handle, even today, how do you handle when you're humming along and all of a sudden the shift starts falling on your head? How does Melissa handle that stuff? How does she get through it and process it?
I'm a horrible liar. I wear everything on my face, on my sleeve. It's all out there exposed anyways, because I am so in tune and connected that it's like, you're gonna see it. And so I may as well own it, right? Because to me, my energy is gonna say it louder than words. So if I can at least express my experience of what I'm going through, maybe that will be a little bit of a buffer, because I also acknowledge that when I'm going through a shift, I don't want somebody else to take it the wrong way, or for me to like not even realize how I may be interacting with someone because I'm processing. So to be just like blunt about it and be like, here's where I am, helps me help others also. Like I always want to be compassionate towards others. So I think that's what allows me to be really raw, vulnerable, and real, and is being like, other people go through this too. So maybe in sharing this, it's going to inspire somebody, or at least give them a greater awareness and insight into my experience, so they're not taking anything personally.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I can relate to that, you know, because that's what I always did. I thought I was doing it for the people, and I was, and I thought I was doing it because I was told to do it. But I realized too, and Morgan's reminded me a few times, when I get into a rut, especially when we're apart, and she'd say, you need to get the microphone and get on, you know, do your thing, because that's how you actually process for yourself, which is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's multiple purposes, but ultimately that's what you're doing. And that's the frequency that I'm talking about, that I've discovered on these shows, is people just put it out there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of, it's really, you don't realize as you're going through it how impactful that can, or inspiring that can be for somebody else going through it. This has always just been very intuitive for me since I was really a young age, being just very expressive as best as I can be of my experience, and just owning like, this is where I'm at. Like I don't really feel much shame, I guess you could say, about my experience or any level of it, because I realize that it's all a part of our growth and evolution. This is just a stepping stone. So this is where it's like, own it. Just own your stuff.
Yeah, I realized a while back that I always say I am soul since I started. You know, I am soul, but another way to say I am soul is I'm not afraid to show my ass, because I have many times, you know, and there's been times that I'm like, you know, I don't delete things typically, but then somebody will say, I saw that and it did this, and so now have you what's happened with you in family and workplace or friends or whatever, as as you've gone through this change, because you are out there, and so obviously they're going to have seen it.
I was in a very unique situation from a young age, where I left home at 16 years of age across the country, because I was realizing I was headed down a very dark path, where if I would continue down that direction. And so the only way that I knew how to completely change that direction was to quite literally leave my environment, move halfway across the country, and literally just like start from a clean slate and try and align with my highest self as best as I knew at 16 years of age. And for 7 years, I really didn't see my immediate family really that often, only a couple times a year. So in that time, there was that sort of separation where, you know, we weren't close-knit, in close communication. I was already starting that soul journey on the other side of the country. And it's been, so there a lot of falling away, a lot of feeling like the black sheep, feeling like I don't have connection in my immediate family. And of course, that was so hurtful at the beginning of my journey. Now I'm at a stage where I really understand that, you know, if the frequencies aren't aligning, it's because it's sort of steering you to find answers elsewhere.
Yeah. And
it's pushed me to, what is the word I'm trying to find? It's just pushed me to my soul family. It's pushed me to find deeper truths and answers with people that are in resonance with me. I think I walked through life, even from a very young age, feeling like my soul, my blood family wasn't my soul family. I always felt very much an outsider, and like, why don't I fully fit in? Like, this is my family. And so it really forced me to find that connection, that family connection elsewhere with my chosen family, with my soul family.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a story that you hear a lot of, you know, you hear a lot of that. I don't belong here. I don't belong in this family. I'm the black sheep. No one understands me. And it sounds like you set the stage for yourself to make that easier by isolating, you know, or by removing yourself. What the human part of us or society might call it strange. But
yeah, absolutely. So I think that was just something that needed to happen. And I mentioned that a big part of my spiritual awakening was my grandmother's transition. And you know, before she passed away, she was sick for a short period of time before she passed, but in that time, she made it very clear to me, like, moving was the best thing you could have ever done. And, you know, to have her blessing and approval and to understand that I had to go down that path to get me here was just like, I'm getting chills and goosebumps right now. That's another way that I receive message from spirit or confirmation is through clairsentience or clear feeling. And so even just talking about my grandmother, I know she still helps and steers and guides me on my path all the time. She felt like soul family to me. Like me and her had a very special connection and bond. But yeah, to receive that blessing of being like, you did it right. Like, don't have any second doubts or questions about that was such a gift for me.
Wow. And how much time passed between when you took off and when she transitioned?
I would say 10 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
It was a long time. It was a good chunk of time for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned your higher self at 16, and maybe that's in retrospect, but how has that relationship evolved for you or been created for you by you? Do you have conversations with the higher self, or you just kind of run on one voice?
I would say that I've always been very connected and in tune with, I used to call it my moral compass. I used to call it, I was like, I don't know if whatever society says this is what I should do, this feels right for me. And so I'm going to follow and listen to that, even if it's going in the opposite direction as where everybody else is going. And so I later, in retrospect, found out, oh, that was my higher self. And I was always in connection and communication with that. It's just the language and awareness came much later. But even as a child, I felt very, very different. So later in my spiritual journey, I found out that I was also connected to, and this is terrifying for me to put out there, but it's like probably so normal for some people, that I am a starseed, that I am really here on mission with great purpose, came in here knowing that. And a part of that is speaking truth, just like channeling these wisdoms from, you know, another star system. And and that's that's actually, this is the first time I'm putting it out there in a very big way with a bigger audience. I've admitted this one-on-one, so this is me breaking that barrier.
Well, believe me, you're totally supported here, and we've heard it many times, and that's fantastic that you're doing this, because like you said at the top of the show, it will inspire others to come forward in this year that you guys are coming forward. Let me ask you this. So 16 and maybe 10 years later, she transitioned. When did you consciously say to yourself, I am a starseed, I am here on a mission? You know, I mean, at what point?
That would have been 6 months after my grandmother passed away.
Wow.
I was in a very dark place. Like I said, I experienced what some call the dark night of the soul, where you're just in such a dark place, you don't know if you're going to see the light again. And I was experiencing just like, I stopped taking care of myself. I was in a very deep depression. I isolated myself. I pulled away from everything and everyone. You know, I stopped eating, drinking water. I really was like in a place where I just didn't want to be here anymore. And one night I had a visitation. I had a visitation from light beings, and they spoke to me telepathically, and I was in the fetal position, and it was like, so it felt like an extreme full body pain was happening to me, where once I tuned into the frequency, it was actually the frequency of like unconditional love. But it was of such a high frequency and I was of such a low frequency that it just felt painful because I hadn't never felt it before. Yeah. And they spoke to me telepathically and said, I know that your human experience is very challenging for you and you're doing amazing and we support you fully. We love you. And I woke up feeling just pain-free and an expansion in my heart that I had never felt before. And I was like, I was light for days. I was just so light on my feet after feeling so heavy and so dense for so long, like 6 months. To feel that, it really blossomed a seed in me to say, what was that? and I needed to understand that experience because, of course, the logical mind is going to say that didn't really happen. That was just a dream. But because there was physical evidence to support, like my vibration had actually elevated. Yeah. Yeah, that was sort of put me on the path to be like, what was that? Yeah. And through meeting people like you and other people on Facebook, you know, the awareness started to come after the experience. Yeah, exactly. It takes time to catch up to those things. Because the mind, you know, is telling us the whole time, you know, you're crazy or whatever. Yeah. Now, do you still communicate? Do you communicate with any star family lineage in particular? You identify with anything in particular, and do you still communicate with them? Yes, absolutely. I feel very connected to Pleiadians and Syrians. And yeah, Pleiadian, first and foremost, is, you know, it's funny because you read about it, you learn about it, you sort of immerse yourself in it to further process and catch up with the logical mind and the experience and all the rest. But yeah, it's been mostly through channeled like writing, I would say. Yeah. And I can tell by the frequency of it. Yeah. It's hard to put these things into words. I'm like in awe that you do this as often as you do, because I'm like, where are the words for this? Yeah. Well, yeah, but it comes through between the lines. I'm understanding what you're talking about. I guess maybe because of the work I do. Yeah. But yeah, I totally get that. Absolutely. Yeah. My crown is exploding the whole time you're talking about this stuff. I don't know if I'm connected to it or I don't know what the deal is, but it's actually sprouting like rainbow sparks out of my head. Yeah, my crown chakra is pretty expanded open. It got me into energy work, so that's something that I do. Something that I discovered during my spiritual awakening was I started to discover more about meditation, and I went to this meditation circle one time that offered Reiki healing, and I was like, what is this? And I went in with a super skeptical mind, but I relayed to them, like, my throat is blocked. I cannot communicate a clear message. And, you know, I had somebody work on me and it just flowed so effortlessly and so easily after that session. I was really blown away. I was like, maybe something's here. I don't know. But that definitely, again, that experience as a truth seeker, I want to debunk things. I don't want to just blindly follow because somebody told me information or I read it on a blog or something. Like, I really want to dissect things, to understand them, and to not just believe things at face value. Yeah. And so that was definitely one of the things. And, you know, through experimenting with it and learning about it and all the rest, I fell in love with it. And to me, it's so much easier to work with energy than it is to on any other level, like communicating, speaking, channeling, all the rest. I'm like, let's just work with the energy because energy doesn't lie. Yeah, and I'm gonna be totally truthful with you right in this moment.
I don't know what's happening. It's of course powerful. It's powerful today. With everyone knows what's happening. End of an 18-month eclipse season. And when I talk to people on these shows, sometimes I'm hearing their higher voice or higher self and their human self, and sometimes there's two or three other aspects also in the mix. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting here listening to you, and for one of the few times, it's a little bit difficult for me to listen to you because there's a whole bunch of white beings. I don't know if they're in front of me, behind me, but they're like very happy, and I don't know what they're saying. I keep hearing these loud noises. So this is part of the new earth frequency to me. It's not in the explanations. It's just in these
It's in the
frequencies.
energy.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
Yeah.
now you said that you got into energy work, and that's how you got into energy work. What do you do? What kind of work do you do specifically, or is it just your whole toolbox?
All right. So I work at a restaurant in the daytime, and I'm a Reiki master at night. So I feel like I'm living two different lives in two different dimensions. And as as a Gemini, I find that a lot of great fun. Some people may feel that like that's very difficult, but for me, I see it as an opportunity to immerse myself in a world with people that are not necessarily spiritually aware or believe, and they're just on a different frequency than me. And for me to still be able to hold my frequency and to not be ashamed and to speak my truth. And everyone thinks I'm a little quirky, a little eccentric, but that's also been a great practice for me to be seen and to be
Yeah.
heard and to still be truthful and to honor myself, even in an environment where people are like, I don't even understand the words that are leaving your mouth right now.
Well,
But
that's a good thing for people to hear.
yeah.
Because I know, I came off the streets after a couple of years, and I went to work in a restaurant,
Mhm.
a bar and grill, and I was doing Soulogy. That's all I was doing. And now I'm working, and I didn't do what you did. I didn't talk to people about it. I was Todd, the crazy, wild, shadowed,
Yeah.
fragile masculine trying to be a badass. And, I was all messed up, but I still
Mhm.
hung on to it. So I think that's a great thing that you said, because it can actually be done. You can actually carry that, embody what you've done
Mhm.
into your, I don't say other life, but
Yeah.
your human
The more
normal.
human, normal aspects. Because I think that when you have a spiritual awakening, it was like my first notion to be like, I need to get out of the system. I need to get out of this 3D world, and like I can't be around these people, and I need to keep my frequency high. And I thought that meant completely cutting ties and letting go of you know, that life. And it just wasn't really possible for me. Like I still had to make money. I still had to,
Yeah, yeah,
eat and things. And, it was just, I think that the reason also why I didn't make that jump, even though I know that eventually that will eventually transition into me doing full-time energy work or,
yeah,
speaking, holding shares and circles and whatever. I think that it's important for people to see the process of somebody that is still in it, like
yeah,
there's no shame in having to have a side job while you're fulfilling your purpose, your mission.
yeah,
And all I think about all day is spirit and mission, and bettering myself and
yeah,
breaking through my own barriers and just being that light. However, yeah, what's really amazing at this job and having this great test and practice is what I see it as, is people are shifting. Like my frequency, me emitting my frequency is allowing other people to grow and expand and to broaden their perspective.
yeah,
And, my boss came to me one day and was like, yo, Melissa, like, what's happening in the cosmos? Because I thought of someone the other day I hadn't talked to in a really long time. And then he just like reached out to me out of nowhere. And I was like,
Mhm.
all right, so the seeds that I've planted are growing, like slowly but surely. You know, I'm getting people to open up and ask greater questions about, you know, crystals and energy healing and the full moon.
Uh-oh, she popped out again. Here, she's coming back. Let's see if she can see me. You're good. Can you see me? Can you see me? No, I got to pop out again. Y'all
Oh, there we are.
okay, yeah. You go out, and then I have to go out and come back in. I don't know
Oh,
why.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happens.
No. It's never been this way. Intuitively, I just go out, come back in. I don't know why it happened that way. But no, you know what you're describing, I think is very important. I mean, I think it's a great physical representation of our potential, or really what we're doing, which is integrating the physical and the non-physical. And if I look at my own situation, which I never had this presented to me, but you've actually taken your stuff, and that's become you, even in this in your physical existence or part of your workplace, which on one hand, it would look like a total separation of worlds, which is how I viewed it. But I think it's very encouraging because it gives people an opportunity to see a physical representation of actually what we're here to do, which is integrate this into ourselves, and then engage life and actualize the 5D plus into our daily life. And what comes next will be the next
Yeah.
question, which is which leads to manifestation, materialization, the miracles and the magic. How has this whole evolution and this journey been for you, taking that into account, with the foundation of living in both places as the real raw you? How has that affected your ability to manifest and successfully materialize or not? And how's that going for you?
It's magical. It's pretty amazing. So in taking on, like, I feel like we're given these great tests or, challenges, hurdles in order to prepare us for the next stage of our journey, of our evolution. And, in just having faith and trusting the process, right? That we're often given those like rewards, and you see the manifestation, you see the magic happen. And I wouldn't be where I am right now in my workplace if I wasn't seeing progress made, if I didn't feel like I was impacting and influencing, the culture in where I am. And, for instance, I started out at the job as a cashier because I had just come off of a year of not working because of a stress leave, because of being so utterly depressed I couldn't function. And I just wanted an easy, low-key job, something that was like not going to stress me out and I could just do my thing after work, but I needed income. And so I started out as a cashier. I let them know, like, all right, I'm ready for something more. And that shifted me into a baking role. And then I was like, I'm ready for a little bit more. And because I had developed this amazing relationship with the boss and owner of the restaurant, he's given me a really, a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
And now I have the opportunity to manage their social media account, where I'm able to be really creative every day. And that's very exciting for me, because even though it's not fully aligned with what I'm very passionate about, it still allows me to share my light to so many people. And it is allowing me to practice being seen. It's allowing me to, express my authenticity in a way that is preparing me, I know, for the next stage. And this is why I was like laughing to myself, saying, of course, that I would be talking to Todd right now, because this is what I have been receiving messages for, is like, this is it, like, you're ready.
God, wow, man, you're just packed with wisdom. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm picking this up too. I ask people that question, and what you just said to me, and correct me if I'm wrong or add to it. You said again, you're taking your stuff up here, you're applying it to your life. Like you said, you were dense, you were lighter from that point on, and you're just being you, and you're actually not measuring your human life. You're not measuring it by the consequences of your efforts. You're not measuring that by the old paradigm. You're doing it by what you said, the cultural impact that you're having and the impact you're having on other souls, as opposed to how much am I getting paid? Something like that. Is that what you're?
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Like, I see this as a great opportunity to, you know, be my quirky self and, you know, put a smile on somebody's day. That raises their frequency and vibration, therefore making their experience easier to flow through, to find their truth, to receive the messages that we're all receiving on some level. I don't see any barriers in front of me in terms of how I can impact, influence, or inspire people. I'm going to do that whether I am on a park bench homeless, or whether, you know, I don't know, and living it up, you know, like, it's really just, that's a commitment that I've made in this lifetime, is to just be the light. And I'll do it no matter where I am, no matter how much I'm getting paid, if I'm getting paid or if I'm not getting paid. This is just, I feel like that's the new paradigm. I really do. It's like just being your authentic self.
Wow. That's snap, man. That's that's just, that's that straight speak, that soul speak, that in the way you put it, I've not heard it put that way. You know, people say things and, you know, they don't always say them the same way, but we're all kind of saying the same thing. But yours is really plain and in your face and straight up and direct and nice and compassionate and real, you know? So
thank you.
That's a nice, but that's what you've always done. That's why you know, I noticed you 3 or 4 years ago, because it's always, the human never left you, you know, like you took, and so many of us were like, human, get away. I'm not a human. It's just, I don't want to deal with.
Well, I won't mislead you or others and say that the humanness hasn't been hard. I think that the hardest part of it has been the physical component, which is another thing that I have been really real and honest about, and being like, you know, I have fluctuated and yo-yoed in my weight, in my physical activity, in the way that I eat, or whatever. Like, the human part of our experience is just so hard to navigate through, which was also one of the messages that I received from my galactic family and guides, that it's because I'm so used to experiencing, at least in one of my more recent lifetimes, being able to manifest very easily, being able to, you know, just have things be very effortless, I guess you could say. So in this dense experience, like, there's a reason why I struggle so much with the physicality aspect. And that's something else that a message that I've been receiving, like, over and over and over, is to anchor the light. And we do that in our physical vessels and body. So that's another thing that I'm doing this year, is I'm like, all right, I have to actually claim this physical vessel and realize that the stronger I make this vessel, the easier it will be for me to manifest. And right now I am finding it, there's a lot of flow and fluidity in my manifestation. So I can't even, like, process right now how much stronger that's going to be when I actually am masterful of this physical vessel. Yeah,
that's another good one, which is to honor the body and build the strength of the body, you know, mental, emotional, physical, but it's really gotten to be physical here lately, you know, which actually affects the success or level of your ability to manifest.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a powerful statement. Now you do, so you do Reiki. Is it all at a local level, or do you do it distance healing and energy work with people on the internet?
Yeah, I do distance healing in person. I do Reiki shares. I feel like a big part of my mission here is to normalize these types of modalities and to bring an awareness and an education that is palatable for people to process and understand. So I'm really taking a concept that can be maybe overwhelming for some people and breaking it down and making it, just a less intimidating experience, I guess you could say. So I'm sharing this wisdom, this knowledge, as often as I can. I like to give a lot of examples of, hey, have you ever felt this way? Yeah, I totally have. Okay, well, this relates to this that way. You know what I mean? Like making the connections easier for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm talking about it all the time.
Now, and I'm sorry, where can people find you that want to work with you online?
I'm mostly on Instagram right now. I've just newly come back online. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've really pulled away from online for a long time to deal with my stuff and to go through what I needed to. So I just started up Instagram at Healing with Mel. And, it was interesting. This is the first time that I've really felt guided or pulled to come back onto Facebook to reconnect with Soul Tribe and to share my message and to be seen, essentially. So.
Well, there's no coincidences.
No.
And if you would put up your link or links, I guess they could contact you through Facebook,
email, Facebook. Yeah.
Put up your links, because I'm just going to say to everybody, I do everything spontaneously. That's what we do here. Yeah. Everything's new, and I think really, I'm just going to call out to everybody on the live and the replay who's resonating, who might look to Melissa for some energy work and some wisdom and some guidance, whatever. Let's support her. And we won't put our comment up on this show, which we usually put up. If this show resonates with you, consider supporting us with a contribution. So let's get Melissa's stuff up there. And those of you who align and resonate with her, let's support her. And Soulogy supports you.
Thank you so much.
If you want to come back on, or you want to get any more information out there, you want to walk the plank again. there's not sharks in the water, they're dolphins.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. This has been, I feel like it's so funny. I just have to share with you before we leave that I pulled a card before getting on here because I was like really anxious and nervous to just like speak my truth. And I got life-changing epiphany or experience. It's a time of big and blessed change for you, and God is supporting you each step of the way. So it was just like such a beautiful reminder, affirmation to put yourself out there, because when we do, we're breaking through our perceived limits and barriers to grow and expand.
I was going to ask you, walking out the door, what advice would you give anybody from this point forward? I mean, things are moving so quickly right now, like warp speed, and with the information just coming in faster and faster. But you might have just answered it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that for us, to maybe go on.
Yeah, I feel like pursue the path that has resistance. See what's there. Ask yourself why there is resistance, because to me, we always go the path of least resistance, but that isn't necessarily the path that's developing us the most. And to really see our challenges as opportunities for growth, evolution, expansion. So like I said, the second that Morgan Lee reached out to me, I was like, of course I have to do it, because I feel the resistance, and I don't want that dialogue or that fear to be what writes my script, my story. And so to challenge that and realize, like, I did it, I overcame it, I'll replay it and probably, criticize myself or whatever the case is, but I still know on a soul level, this is a part of my growth, this is a part of my story, and I hope to come back and talk with you and to share more and to have, an impact on somebody that needs to hear, see, witness me, feel my energy, etc.
Yeah, I'd love to do it. I'd love to have future collaborations, and I feel like that'll happen.
Yeah.
I really want to thank you again. Yeah, this has been an amazing show. It's in full alignment with everything that's happening. And so I say again, everybody, let's support Melissa. You know, anybody out there, this is the year of collaboration.
It is.
You know, it really is. So, you know,
Yeah, I've been feeling that.
What you see is what you get with her. So if you have the need, if you're in alignment and resonate, you know, hit her up on the Instagram link that she's going to put up, Facebook, or the email. And please do that, Melissa. And
Thank you so much. I will.
I'll reshare it as people go back and watch the replay. I'll copy and paste it.
Amazing.
Like I do my own and for other people as well.
You're amazing, Todd. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for everything. See you again, and best of luck to you. Peace out.
Thank you.
See y'all. See everybody. Thank you for coming. We have Judith Cassell from South Africa in 6 hours. That's going to be a great show. Bye-bye. Thanks,
care.
Melissa.